SBC Media.
Welcome to iGaming Daily, analysing the news from the betting and gaming industry all over the globe. Supported by SBC Summit Barcelona, the industry-leading conference bringing you the future of sports betting and iGaming.
SBC Summit Barcelona is where you can experience the global industry coverage under one roof. Expect an industry-leading conference agenda covering all verticals across 7 stages, a huge trade show floor filled with over 3,000 exhibitors, and luxury networking events at premium venues in one of Europe's coolest cities. Join 10,000 executives this September at the event drawing the industry's eyes. Get your tickets now at sbcevents.com.
It's that time of the year again where financial results are coming thick and fast, and today is no exception. However, on iGaming Daily, sponsored by SBC Summit Barcelona, we'll be taking a deep dive into Kindred's second quarter results and looking at both its B2B and B2C operations across the globe. And joining me to discuss all things Kindred are Conor Porter, the senior journalist at CasinoBeats, and Danny Lee, the business journalist at CasinoBeats and SlotBeats. Welcome to you both. How are you doing today? Danny?
I'm doing great, James. Thank you. Always a pleasure to be back on the pod.
You always say it's always a pleasure to be back on the pod, so I believe you every time you say it, Danny. And Conor, how are you doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. It is a sunny day for once, rather than... Well, actually, I'm just looking out the window now and we've got grey clouds, so the sun only lasted about 6 hours. So, yeah, typical British summer weather. So, yeah, doing good.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've jinxed it. It's nice and sunny where I am right now, but I'm guarantee you, as soon as it starts raining where you are, it'll be thunderous showers where I am. Thanks for that, Conor. But, like we said, we're going to look into Kindred today. It's one of the big ones that came across the SBC news desk. So first off the bat, Conor, can you just provide the listeners with kind of an overview of some of Kindred's headline figures from its Q2 report?
Yes. So interim CEO Niels Arnden has been reflected on the quarter itself and described it as extraordinary, with some good growth for them against year comparisons. 29% increase year over year in revenue, rising from 238.7 million the previous year, up by 29% to 307.3 million, thanks to continued focus on their strong customer offering, with May and April having particularly good showing for the company itself. They've also mentioned that they are potentially the number one in the Netherlands once more after re-entering the regulated market there. And they've also given a little bit of an update as well on, well, I say a little bit of an update. It's not really an update because we don't have anything new particular, but they did say that the strategic review that they have at the moment, which could include potential divestment options, is still ongoing at the moment. And they won't be providing any near short-term guidance, more just an outcome of that review once it has been concluded, which I presume for many investors will be hopefully giving some guidance on that as we get closer to the Q3 results later this year in October.
There we go. Perfect. And for the iGaming Daily listeners out there, as you now see, we provide an update with no update. But CasinoBeats will be all over that update with no update as soon as they get it. And Danny, how are the B2C operations?
Yes, so pretty robust performance there, increasing 28% to 298.3 million, which is up from last year's figure of 233.5 million. And like Conor said, they've sort of attributed that to re-entering the Dutch market, which they sort of ceased all activity in on the 1st of October 2021, and then re-entered it last year, July 3rd, 2022. And so with total revenue for the Netherlands coming in at around 63.6 million, they've sort of, again, as Conor touched on, suggested that they are on the path towards market leadership, is their own words. So, however, if you were to take Netherlands out of the conversation, their B2C revenue actually climbed just 1 percentage point. So it has made quite a significant impact in that area.
And Danny, looking at the B2C counterpart, how did it perform with its B2B assets?
Yeah, so that's been looking quite strong as well. So in 2022, it came in at 5.2 million, and it's just been revealed that the B2B business hit revenue of 9 million. And sort of with Kindred on in Relax Gaming, they have said that that supplier was a fundamental cornerstone of its product differentiation strategy and continues to show stellar performance, again, in their words. So, Relax Gaming, obviously, in the past couple of years, I think it was 2021 that Kindred acquired them. You know, they've continuously produced pretty high-quality slot content, and in that time as well have also launched the Dream Drop jackpot functionality that I think has already confirmed, I think, 8 millionaire winners since it has been launched. So that's obviously quite a sort of significant part of their business, really.
Now to look more closely into Kindred's financials instead of just an overall figures kind of look, I thought it would be cool to tweak something that my colleague Craig Davis did in last week's Bets and Financials podcast with Pontus Lindwall and Jesper Svensson. So, Conor, Danny, we are going around the world with Kindred. So, Danny, you're on home turf. Can you just tell me a bit about Kindred's Western European performance in Q2?
Yes, so Western Europe has made up the significant part of Kindred's gross winnings revenue, with 60% of that of its total figure coming from Western Europe, and I believe they have said that it sort of remains Kindred's dominant force, with revenue up 51% from last year's 119.5 million to 180.1 million for this Q2. As I said, occupying 60% of that total GWR. However, obviously there is sort of a bit of disparity there between last year's results because of how sort of its re-entry into the Netherlands has sort of produced like a substantial amount of that revenue and that positive performance. Elsewhere, there was also a bit of a negative impact in Belgium, I think, due to some safer gambling measures being introduced in the market, but they also attributed some good growth to its performance in the UK as well.
Perfect. And moving over to Conor, who somehow managed to find himself, who was originally in sunny yet cloudy Manchester, now finds himself in the Nordic region. How were the Kindred's operations in that region, Conor?
Well, they get more sun over there at this time of year, but less about the weather because we're not weather forecasters here at SBC. The Nordics for Kindred, 24% of their overall revenue. However, it decreased compared to the previous year by 4%, closing in Q2 at 71.5 million. Whereas in the previous year, in 2022, it was 74.2 million. And they cited ongoing challenges in Norway as a reason as to why that has declined compared to the previous year. But ultimately as well, the company did have some strong growth in Denmark, but due to the ongoing challenges that they're facing in Norway, it could be something that may go on into the third quarter. We'll have to wait and see, but that's the situation for them in the Nordics at the moment.
Good. And from Western Europe, Danny has now somehow managed to find himself in Central, Eastern and Southern Europe. So, Danny, while you're there, Kindred's performance in Central, Eastern and Southern Europe.
So, Central, Eastern and Southern Europe, it did actually improve as well, rising 26% to 33.1 million from last year's figure of 26.2 million. And I believe they actually attributed this strong growth to its performance in Romania and Italy, two fairly key iGaming markets around the whole of Europe.
And just to round off our Kindred World Tour, Conor, you're in Australia and North America. How were Kindred's performances in those regions throughout the second quarter?
Yeah, so this is categorized by Kindred as an other category, and GWR remained flat as a result of growth in North America, but negative GWR developments in Australia. Just looking at the individual figures for both markets, 26% drop in revenue in Australia due to lower customer activity, but in North America, revenue actually increased from 7.2 million the previous year in 2022 up to 8.4 million in 2023, following the deployment as well of their proprietary platform in New Jersey and in Pennsylvania. So yeah, starting to see some encouraging signs in North America, especially with the platform launches in those respective states. But obviously, it's going to be a tough market for Kindred, particularly in sports betting, given the dominance of FanDuel and DraftKings there. But in terms of iGaming, there is a potential now with their platform for them to potentially gather a strong customer base there and continue their one platform strategy, starting off in the states of New Jersey and Pennsylvania.
Good stuff. And just to round this part of the podcast up, and this will be a question for the both of you, what can we expect moving forward in Q3?
So I think to begin with, just going back to what we said in the roundup in the beginning, talking about the strategic review, I think many investors will be hoping for an outcome to that by the time we get to October later this year, as well as any further news as well on a permanent CEO and CFO coming into the frame for Kindred. In regards to into sports, currently we've got the Women's World Cup going on at the moment, and the football season is going to begin in August as well, which will see off the end of Q3 before it's all calculated and published. So they'll be taking that into account, and we probably will imagine, given the rise of women's football, that will translate into more wagering onto women's sport as well. So it could potentially be a strong Q3 in that market for Kindred, but we'll wait and see in those markets. In terms of iGaming, just see how they continue going on for them with these platform launches in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and see how that continues to develop, as well as the performance in the Netherlands. See if they do, go beyond that estimation of being the number one in the market and actually seeing the results come from that position in the market, as well as the continued growth as well for relaxed gaming and the B2B as well.
To add to that, obviously the UK Gambling Review white paper has sort of been going through these consultations, and we're sort of coming up to a time where we're expecting to maybe hear an update on the legislations and the industry's reaction to the proposals. And obviously Kindred, with a big established presence in the UK, they have said that they look forward to contributing with the rest of the industry to the next steps of the Gambling Act review. So we may see something there in terms of their reaction to the proposals or how things are developing in the UK space.
Lovely stuff. And I'm just going to put something out there that I've seen from this CasinoBeats article. I don't know if both of you have seen this. And this is what I'm kind of looking forward to for the next quarter. Something a bit silly, to be honest. But the total gross winnings, revenue, and locally regulated market split table that's been embedded into the CasinoBeats article. I don't know if you've realised, but from Q4 2021 to Q1 2022, you see the exact same kind of the same figures for Q4 and 2022 and Q1 2023. So it's 81% for both Q4 and Q1 2022-2023, and it was 77% for Q4, Q1 2021-2022. This is where I'm going with this. There was a 1% increase in Q2 2022 and 2023. So it's increased by 1 year. So I kind of want to see this kind of table do a complete kind of parallel. So in Q3, I want to see another 1% increase to match 2022's Q3 for 2023's Q3, and then there'll be a 2% jump in Q4, just so it kind of mirrors each other. It's pretty silly, but I noticed that one. I thought it'd be pretty fun. That's what I want to see from Kindred. Nothing serious. I just want to see a parallel table for 2 years back to back. We're just going to round this up now, the podcast, because we've still got about 2 minutes left, I think. So, Conor, we'll come to you first, and then Danny. Conor, can you just tell us what's been flying through the CasinoBeats news desk today?
Well, I was going to more actually, when you pitched that question at the beginning, I was going to actually pull people in the direction of the interviews that we've got going up over the next couple of weeks on CasinoBeats in the build-up for our SBC Barcelona event in September. Danny did a two-parter interview with Anthony Gord of Gordhammer Gaming Group, talking about esports and streaming slots with him there. So go read that interview. I myself talked to Laura Petruska from Bet99, talking about the balancing innovative slot ideas with the classic titles and slots innovation. And Craig's got an interview coming up as well. But just the build up to SBC Barcelona, we've got interviews on several of the casino and iGaming panels from that upcoming event, talking to some of the speakers on those panels about their respective panels and what they're looking forward to at SBC Barcelona later this year. And I know this podcast as well is going to be talking to a lot of those panelists taking part in the event as well later this year. So we've got some of those write-ups on the CasinoBeats website for everyone to have a read to and to look forward to the event and what's going to take place in the panel sessions at the event itself.
Yeah, and any of the articles that Conor did mention there that are live on CasinoBeats, I will put in the description below for listeners to go check out. So just click through to the link and read the articles. And Danny, Conor's already done your job for your features, but I'm going to come to you. Interesting slots that I've come across the SlotBeats news desk. Give me 3.
A few interesting slots recently. So today, Relax Gaming, funnily enough, were releasing their latest slot, Sloth Tumble, which I believe was actually...
Sloth Tumble?
Sloth Tumble, yes.
Okay.
They love a tumble slot.
Is it slow?
Is it slow?
There's no turbo. There's no turbo option, is there?
Unfortunately, there is. Yeah, so that I believe was launched in collaboration with About Slots, like the sort of slot community page, to just sort of get a bit of inspiration of what players want, and then they've come out with this title. But yeah, it does have a quick mode option, so it's not the most sloth-like slot you'll see.
You missed the trick there. It should have been like a really slow-mo option to really make it slow. Don't know how that will go with player engagement, but more retention.
Yeah, that's what everybody wants when they've got like 5 minutes to play a slot or whatever it is. Yeah. Another interesting one we had last week was Play and Go's recent slot Scroll of Seth, with a couple of free spins features in there, and a Wild Scrolls feature that was sort of quite interesting, placing multiplied wild stacks onto the reels. And another one I quite enjoyed was a sort of typical fishing slot, but with a bit of a Viking spin from Stake Logic, which was Eric's Big Catch.
Good stuff. And again, those 3 slots, I will put the link for your latest slot articles in the description below. But that is all we've got time for. So, Conor, Danny, thank you for joining me today on an episode of iGaming Daily, again sponsored by SBC Summit Barcelona. And to our listeners out there, thank you, goodbye, we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of iGaming Daily, brought to you in conjunction with SBC Summit Barcelona, being held at the Fira Barcelona Montjuic on the 19th to the 21st of September. If you want to find out more about some of the subjects raised today, feel free to explore any of the sites in the SBC News Network, or check out the latest edition of the SBC Leaders magazine. Happy reading.